Can North Korea nuke us? With so much news about North Korean missiles, the thought of Kim Jong-un actually launching a strike against the US has probably crossed your mind more than once. In the past 7 months, North Korea has tested at least 17 missiles, fired rockets into the Sea of Japan, and released propaganda videos like this one. But can they actually nuke us, or is this just more of the same anti-US rhetoric we've seen for decades? Here's everything you need to know about North Korea's nuclear weapons program. On July 4th, 2017, North Korea did something unprecedented. It successfully tested an intercontinental ballistic missile, or ICBM. ICBMs are long-range guided missiles that are capable of reaching over 3,400 miles. The missile test sent shockwaves around the world and dominated the news cycle. Until now, the reclusive country had only been able to launch short and intermediate range missiles, and most experts underestimated North Korea's ability to successfully launch an ICBM. While North Korea has always been a threat to US allies Japan and South Korea, by proving that they have the ability to launch an ICBM, North Korea now poses a real threat to the US mainland. But what's even more concerning is that some experts say North Korea might even be closer to creating a miniaturized nuclear warhead, meaning they could strap a nuke on an ICBM bound for the US. But why does North Korea want a nuclear weapon that could hit the US in the first place? It might have something to do with the fact that both of the countries are technically still at war. After World War II, the US and the Soviet Union divided the Korean peninsula in half along the 38th parallel. The Soviets took the north and the US took the south. Thus, the Republic of Korea, South Korea, and the Democratic People's Republic of Korea, North Korea, were both born. In 1945, North Korean founder Kim Il-sung returned to the Korean peninsula after training in the Soviet Union during World War II. He formed the Korean Workers' Party, which was the Communist Party in Korea. In 1950, Kim launched an invasion in the south, trying to unify the peninsula under communist rule. That invasion started the Korean War, with the communists in the north fighting the US-backed south. While the north is responsible for starting the war, North Koreans have been told for years it was the US that took the first move. That conflict left over 1 million people dead and countless others displaced and separated from their families. The two sides finally declared a ceasefire in 1953, but the bloody war never officially ended. Meanwhile, Kim Il-sung began to shape North Korea under communist rule, launching the Kim dynasty. After he died, his son Kim Jong-il came to power, and after his death, his son Kim Jong-un became the new supreme leader. And all this brings us to why Kim Jong-un seems so hell-bent on obtaining a nuclear weapon. Because he is. Kim Jong-un sees a nuclear weapon as the only way to hold on to power. And while some in the West might laugh that off as just paranoia, it's kind of true. Need an example? Look no further than Libya's former dictator, Muammar Gaddafi. Gaddafi handed over his nuclear weapons program in 2003 in return for better relations and aid from the West. In 2011, Gaddafi was overthrown and brutally murdered after the US supported a regime change in Libya. That is the exact future Kim Jong-un sees for himself if he doesn't get his hands on a nuclear weapon soon. Most experts agree, North Korea hasn't been able to make its own missile that can travel past Asia. Yet. But keep in mind, those same experts were also shocked that the North Koreans were able to successfully test an ICBM. If one thing is certain, the Kim regime has repeatedly shocked the world with the progress they've made in their nuclear program. According to a former CIA chief, it might not even be long before the country has the ability to strike the US mainland. Michael Hayden, who served as the agency's head from 2006 to 2009, recently said that North Korea might be able to strike Seattle, Washington with a nuclear weapon by the end of President Trump's first term. You might be thinking we could just launch a military strike and wipe out North Korea's weapons arsenal, but it's not that simple. Any sort of preemptive strike would have disastrous results for US allies in the region, who are already within striking range of North Korean missiles. Seoul, South Korea's capital, is particularly at risk. If the North were to hit Seoul, millions of people would probably die. And if the US did strike the North, it's not really clear how effective it would be. That's because most of North Korea's missiles are hidden in bunkers deep underground or tucked inside of mountains. And let's be real, if North Korea's nuclear weapons program was an easy issue to solve, it would have been done by now. But if there's one thing I think we can all agree on, it's that a conflict with North Korea should be avoided at all costs, because millions of lives depend on it.